It is time to expand minds through movies, TV, sports, and flicks. It is time to boldly go where no podcast has gone before. It is time for the Captain Talks Flicks.
The Captain Talk Flicks.
Welcome to the Captain Talk Flicks podcast. I'm your host, Captain Cortez, aka Mr. Love, and this is where we talk flicks. And ladies and gentlemen, this week I'm going to talk about the end of one of my most favorite shows in the last probably 8-9 years. And we'll get into that. First couple things. I want to give a big shout out to Chilliwack, Canada. Got some plays over in Chilliwack, Canada this past week. Gracias, gratitude, Toroba, and Chilliwack. I just love the way your name sounds. Your name just sounds absolutely awesome. Very cool name. One of these days, if I'm in Canada, I'm going to go ahead and stop by and hang out in Chilliwack. So thanks for listening. Gracias, gratitude. And additionally, this episode is brought to you by the album called Doing the Impossible by yours truly, the Captain Che Cortez. It's me rapping in my unique style over electronic hip-hop type beats. I guarantee you never heard anything like this in your life. So if you hear the album called Doing the Impossible, I'll put the link below. Check it out. Now, let's get on the podcast. So ladies and gentlemen, about a couple weeks ago, we said farewell to one of my most favorite shows in the last 8-9 years. And I'm talking about the one and only show called SWAT, starring Shemar Moore and a bunch of other awesome, cool actors. And it's about the LA SWAT team protecting the city of Los Angeles. So ladies and gentlemen, I did an episode about this way back in the day, 2017-18. And I talked about how I started watching it, and basically how it wasn't my kind of style of show. And I'm going to go ahead and retell that story. So prior to 2017, I heard that Shemar Moore was going to have his own show. He's getting his own show. And it was going to be called SWAT. Now, the past like 10, 15, 20 years, even longer than that, I always thought Shemar Moore was very cool. I used to watch him on The Young and the Restless back in the day. My mom would watch him, right? I watched him as a teenager, 27-year-old, periodically being on The Young and the Restless, doing his thing. And I think when I was in my 20s, he was hosting Soul Train. I always just thought he was a very cool dude. He seems very cool. And so when I heard he was doing a show called, so I was like, let me check this out. Let me see what's going on here. They give him his own show. You know, what's he gonna do with this? And as soon as I watched the first episode of SWAT, I knew I was gonna watch it. And let me tell you why. First of all, the show was cool. And second of all, Shemar Moore was awesome. But also additionally, there was a character named Captain Cortez. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you know I'm the captain. You know I'm the Captain Cortez. So I thought it was like fate, destiny, that I should watch this show because Captain Cortez was in the show. It's like the first 3 seasons, there was a Captain Cortez. I'm Captain Cortez. So I watched it because of that, and among other awesome things. And so over the years, we had to see the SWAT team go ahead and do various things around the city, protecting the city, various missions and tasks and things that happen with their family outside the police force. It's a really good, entertaining show. So ladies and gentlemen, it's finally over after 8 seasons. They're done. And it's kind of sad to see them go. But I did hear there will be a spinoff, starring Shemar Moore. Cannot wait. Should be awesome. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what I want to do is get into a few things that I kind of noticed about SWAT or that I feel about SWAT over the last 8 seasons. So we'll go ahead and go a lot of different places with this, but just bear with me because it's kind of tell you the effect or the impact on my mind, my psyche, or kind of the vibe of it, right? So let me go ahead and give you some background. And I said this in the other podcast. When I was a young man and the people I was around, a lot of those people did not like law enforcement officers. And I talked about on the first podcast back in 17-18, right? A lot of individuals I was around just were not like feeling them. And even now today, there's still a lot of people in the community that just don't feel them, right? Because a lot of times in the news, in the media, only the bad things get highlighted, right? And I know individuals that think that there are a lot of those guys are bad. Now, me, having studied the world for many, many years, know that any one group has a variety of human beings. Some bad, some good. Doesn't matter what group it is. But unfortunately, in the media we live in today, a lot of times only the losses get highlighted with these law enforcement agencies, right? It doesn't matter which one you're talking about, but a lot of times it's just the losses. When they do good stuff, a lot of times they get highlighted. It's just facts. It's when they mess up that gets highlighted. Anyone that studies security knows this. A lot of times the wins don't get highlighted. It's always the losses, right? So what I like about the TV show SWAT, it does show the SWAT officers in a good light. And I know it's intentionally done to do that. There probably are things that go on like what happens in SWAT. We just don't see them a lot because the negatives and the bad things are highlighted on TV. I think this showcases a good way of painting law enforcement in a way that's like, hey, these guys are all right. They're like me and you, they're regular people, right? They do regular things, they have families, all this thing, right? So anyways, I thought it was really good for the image of them. In Hondo Harrelson, the character that Shamar Moore plays, over the years, seeing his journey, he's genuinely a good dude trying to do good. And sometimes in the process of being a law enforcement and, his real life, it does conflict, but they seem to work it out well. And he does a really good job of trying to make the best choice in all situations, right? He's a really good dude, a really good role model. And brings me to this. So if you listen to this podcast for a while, you guys know that my favorite character is Jean-Luc Picard, right? Over the last 25, 30 years, Picard been the dude. He been the guy I love, and I still do today. Still love Picard. He's still my favorite character. And everybody knows that Star Trek Next Generation, Star Trek in general, is my favorite thing. Now, let me just say this, though. I think that now, as a grown man, the new favorites, or the grown version of the captain favorite character, is going to be Hondo Harrelson and SWAT. Yeah, it's a strong statement. And let me go a little further. As I watched it all year, I'm like, this does remind me a lot of Star Trek. I mean, a lot. Now, if you're a Star Trek fan, you should watch SWAT, and you're going to see a lot of similarities. I can't believe it took me 8 seasons to figure that out. But I'm like, bro, this is just like Star Trek. It explains why I like it so much, because it's a lot like Star Trek: The Next Generation. I mean, they're SWAT officers, right? But it's not that much. You got a guy in command, you got the supporting officers. It's very similar. If you watch The Next Generation, you watch SWAT. It's so similar. It's so crazy how similar. And that's why I like Shamar Moore. He's very Picard like, and the crew is very like the rest of the Enterprise crew. Like, it's very similar. I know it's crazy. I know it's madness, but I just figured this out like this week. I binged the last 9 episodes of SWAT because I was so caught up in the Mission Impossible thing that I get a chance to really see like the episodes as they air live, unfortunately. So I'm kind of catching up. I feel bad because I'm such a fan of the show, but this Mission Impossible was huge. And I had to watch the movies, and go to the theater, I do all these things, and all this other stuff going on. So I kind of was focused on that. And unfortunately, I did miss the end of SWAT Live. But I did binge the last 9 episodes. And as I was binging, I was like, this is basically Star Trek. It's craziness. Oh, let me just go a little further. So spoiler. On the last episode, the enemy attacks, SWAT headquarters. This happens in Star Trek all the time. They'll attack the ship, board the ship, happens like all the time. And in SWAT, what happened? They attacked SWAT headquarters and they boarded it and they raided it, just like on Star Trek. And in Star Trek, Picard has to defend the ship. And in SWAT, Hondo Harrelson has to defend SWAT building. Like in Deep Space Nine, the same thing happens. This happens so many times in Star Trek, I can't even count. I'm like, this is just like Star Trek. It's so crazy. But anyways, I just want to kind of say farewell to SWAT. When I first started watching it was 2017. I was a lot younger. And in the time that it was on the air, I lost someone very important to me, which is Vicente Love. And I first started watching at 17, and she died like 2 years later. And that was very, very impactful on me as a human being. I still feel today. And then when I was recovering or healing or just processing the grief from her dying, watching SWAT on Friday night, it just kind of helped with the grieving process, kind of take my mind off the loss of Vicente, because it was very tough. And sometimes I just kind of watch some shows, just kind of take my mind and just kind of relax and rest and just not get so stressed about it. So in the 8 years it aired, I've changed significantly. When I started 17 to now, very different version of myself. And along the way, I'm seeing Hondo Harrelson in his adventures of what they do and how they live. There is no doubt that it's somehow impacting me or shaping my life to act, move, and just be a better individual. Now, I know you shouldn't watch TV and get it from TV. Let's be real, these screens are programming us. I've talked about it a million times on this podcast about how screens are programming our minds, right? I'm not immune for it. I know how it works, and I'm still not immune for it. I know watching these screens are programming our minds. There's no doubt about it. So I'm very particular about what I watch because I know what's programming my mind. So I know in the last 8 years that SWAT has programmed my mind in some way. But I don't think it's that bad because a lot of the things shown in the show are very positive in my view, right? And I feel it's really instilled some really good beliefs and viewpoints of how added to what's already had, and has made me be a better human being from watching the show. Yeah, you might watch it, yeah, whatever, but I really believe so. If you really sit down to watch the show, you will see that Hondo and crew are very good human beings, and they model very good behavior and make very good choices. Now, whether it's reality or not, I don't know, but there has to be some reality to it. I feel the writers do really good research, and I feel there's a lot of truth in this show we watch. I believe it. You might not believe it from the media watching TV, but I really think it's true. I think they really try to stay true to some reality that happens in these organizations. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not seen SWAT, I highly recommend you go take the 8th season ride. I think you'll be very entertained. It is very cool, very enjoyable. I like it. And one last thing. Maybe you're like, bro, I don't like Law Enforcement. Oh, they suck. Okay, you might think that. Now, I'm not like that. Never been like that. But I know individuals have been like that. Open up your palate, open your mind, watch it. Maybe you would change your mind. Maybe you're like, oh my gosh, this is a great show. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. You see what you think. I think it's a really good show. I feel, like I said, Shemar Moore is a good dude. I feel the show is just well written. It's very entertaining. It's also dropping lessons in it, kind of like Star Trek as well. I think it's good. I mean, it was on for 8 seasons. It must be pretty good because you don't go 8 seasons if you're not good. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say thanks for the ride. All the cast members over the years that have came and went. All the adventures they went on, all the entertaining shows I've seen. I love it's a great ride. I'm gonna miss SWAT, but SWAT X House is coming next. Be another one next. And we're gonna go on another ride adventure with Hondo Harrelson and see what happens. So, ladies and gentlemen, SWAT, thanks for the good times, good memories. And until next time, 20 Squad, stay liquid. Till next time, it's Captain Peace.
The Captain Talks.